Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about a very special series that I have very much enjoyed. It is Netflix's The Fall of the House of Usher. Now, it's no surprise to anybody who has been on the channel for as long as I've been on to know that I love Edgar Allen Poe stories and I love poetry. So this was a great mix of movie, TV show, and poetry for me. So without further ado, let's get started and talk about it, shall we? The storyline is just as follows. It is a story about the Usher family, about their legacy, about what they stand for, about what they did to get to the top, and ultimately what led to their downfall, hence the fall of the House of Usher. We follow each one of Roderick Usher's kids, each one having their own unique storyline, and each one representing a different Edgar Allan Poe story. I really do enjoy it. I do think that they presented it very well. I love the little monologues they have where Roderick Usher is just reciting the poems from the original Edgar Allan Poe stories like The Raven or The Haunted House, I believe it was called. And certain things like that, it leaves it very dramatic, makes it interesting, and it all circles back to an original Edgar Allan Poe story. The titles give away what their fates are, but when we come to know who they are, what they represent, it's obvious if you follow Edgar Allan Poe's works, you know how their stories will end. It doesn't take anything away from them, admittedly. It keeps it interesting. They make it different. They adjust it just enough to where it's familiar, but it is still different and an intriguing storyline overall. The jump scares are there, I'm not gonna lie, and if you're not good with jump scares, I completely understand. But they're little in small doses, at least maybe one or two every episode. So they keep it tasteful for the most part. I do think they keep most of the death sequences and stuff like that to a minimum or as much as they can. I will admit that it is very descriptive, it is very detailed, but that's because that is Edgar Allan Poe's style to begin with. He was known for being descriptive, for being very to the point. That was his thing. He was even called the father of detective novels at his time. So I think that can be a bit of excused. Now, I won't say how the show ends, because as some of you have seen my other reviews, I don't like doing that. I think that you should experience things as the creator intended. You should go see it. And this is a series I do suggest seeing it 100%. It is definitely worth the watch, and it demands your attention, and you want to give it your full attention. It is that good. So please, go see it. It's on Netflix, and yeah, let's move on, shall we? The casting for this series was very good. The broad characters, the interesting actors. Because I know Mike Flanagan's other works like The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and all those, and I really enjoy each one. In fact, I may go back and review each one later on. But for now, let's talk about the actors. Bruce Greenwood as Roderick Usher was phenomenal. He was perfect. His monologues were dark, they were creepy, they were cryptic, but it left you wanting more. I think he did above and beyond this whole series. Mary McDonnell as Madeline Usher, you really got the vibe of her character as being a to the numbers kind of person, and it really showcased that throughout the series. She became a character that you didn't like and one that you didn't want to like, so it really emphasized more on that. Prospero Usher, who some of us may know as being a character from The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. He is played by Surian Sadakota. Sapakoka? Sorry, I kind of messed that one up. Anyway, Prospero in this series pretty much mimics his book counterpart. You kind of get that vibe that he is who he is supposed to be. And that in itself is really amazing that you can pick up automatically, yes, this is the character. Frederick Usher, who is more based on the character The Pit and the Pendulum, He did well. I think he didn't pop up as much as everyone else, but I think that's kind of the point of his character. It's supposed to be like an underdog character that you're supposed to like. We also have Napoleon Usher. He was the stand-in for the Black Cat story. That really worked out well too. I do think that he played off of going crazy, being tortured by a cat very well, and it was sad to see his end. Tamberlin Usher, who was a mix of different things, which is interesting because Tamberlin is not in any of the books, but rather that's the title of one of his poems. But we do see her character being more from the book. I forget what it was called. I think it's called The Green Beetle. I believe it's called The Gold Beetle. And while we do get a lot of that, we do get a mix of other things with her storyline that I would really need to do a deep dive in, because they're all hidden very well, and I do like that aspect of it. We had Victorine Usher, played by Tina Miller, and she did very well playing in the character of the Telltale Heart, because that one's a male. I believe his name is Victor, but it didn't matter in this. I think they did very well with the way they represented it, and so on and so forth. I think they did really well with that. We also had a surprise introduction from Mark Hamill as Arthur Pym, which was interesting because that is more of an adventure book, but they did give it a darker spin to it, which I do believe Edgar Allan Poe would have loved. I do think they did very well with his character representing who he was in the book and modernizing him to a degree. As I said, the cast did very well in representing the material and the characters they represent. While some are a mix of different stuff, some are a twist of different things, they're all still Edgar Allan Poe related. They all fit their characters and the storylines respectively. So it's a lot to take in, but it works, and it was very well executed. The scenery and setting are good. They really show in a dramatic way where they come up, where they are now, and what their lives have turned into. How some of them are just completely by the numbers, trying to live clean. Well, not clean, but they're trying to look clean at least. And how some of them are just living in chaos. How some of them are just being in chaos, or enjoying the chaos of it all. The settings really do give character. Just like an Edgar Allan Poe story, the background makes a character of its own. It makes it make sense. It plays off of the actors. It plays off of the story. The whole beginning sequence where we see Frederick and Madeline Usher's storyline, that really just shows it. And the constant transition between where they live now and where they did, and even where they end up at the end of the story, really brings home all of that ideals. Everything works and everything fits into a place. And that's where I think it really shines. Edgar Allan Poe was very detailed and never slacked on detail. So the fact that they were so concise with even the backgrounds and characters' effects to it, I think it was just a nice touch. I think there's a lot that can be learned from it. And I think that even if you look around, you can catch something new every time. Now, the effects, I will say, are very well done. You can see that there is CGI throughout it, but not that much. You can tell that they try to do things a little more practical with certain jump scares, certain deaths throughout the show. And even if it is done with CGI, they do it very well. They play it off not too thick. They let it happen, but they don't dwell on it. They don't let it, just be there to be there. When they do show spirits and they do show different stuff like that, I do think that it's done very tastefully. They're trying to not really rely on the scare factor, but much more they're trying to rely on dialogue, on the story, more than anything else. And dialogue does play a major part in this. Like I said, Roderick Usher is often quoting Edgar Allan Poe storylines, poetry, and it works. It makes it an Edgar Allan Poe property. It makes it interesting, and I do enjoy all that. I do really love all that, really. Overall, this was an amazing series. They got fantastic actors, the great story writing, and the sceneries will always be there to make like a painting almost. I do love all the characters in this. They do mimic Edgar Allan Poe's stories straight to the T, even to how detailed some of them really are. And Roderick being a mix of the real life Edgar Allan Poe, but more of a twisted, corrupted version of him, really did pop out, and it made the story something new and original, and didn't just make it a rehash of the original Fall of the House of Usher. Not to say it didn't follow the formula to a T, it did, but it just added the story. And the fact that Roderick would always read or recite poetry from Edgar Allan Poe from different stories like The Raven is something that I really do like. I found it really neat and very cool to have. The whole ending scene where he was doing the poem The Raven and basically reenacting what happened in the poem really got me spellbound, I guess you could say. It really got me watching it and paying attention. These are retellings of all the stories of Edgar Allan Poe just for a modern day audience. And I think it worked. I think it shows the determination, the love and respect they had for Edgar Allan Poe. And honestly, I can't wait to see what they do next. Maybe not another Edgar Allan Poe thing, but from what I hear, there is more stuff along the way. Maybe something like Stephen King, kind of like what they did with Castle Rock. I don't know. But for now, thank you all for listening in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please subscribe down below and leave a like. I'll be back next week with some more with another review, maybe a couple reviews for Halloween because it is upon us now. And yeah, hope you guys see you later, and yeah, have a great day.